to become great, to become the best of the best, you have to have that spark. I see it in every great figure skater, anyone who's doing crazy new things and setting world records. It's hard to explain, but I just see it in them. They're not afraid to try these things. They just try things for fun. And, parents and coaches sometimes get mad at them for just messing around or not working on what's important. But in reality, like to us, we're pushing the boundaries. Um, and there were a lot of things that I tried for fun that I wasn't technically supposed to be trying. That ended up separating myself from the pack. The quad lutz was one of those things. And then after I landed the quad lutz, then I decided to mess around and try doing a quad lutz with both arms above my head, which is a very difficult variation of a jump. And then I became the first person in the world to do that too. So there are a lot of things that were not the precedent at the time. And I didn't care. My approach was just like I wasn't afraid to, I didn't shy away from the concept uh boundary pushing things. And that's why I would really encourage everyone else to be like that. If there's some crazy new thing that that people don't seem to think is possible, chances are it's possible. They just don't realize it yet. But you can realize it. You can be the one to, you know, then in a few years, everyone will be a follower. Everyone will be trying it, but they'll be followers. But then you will be the leader, the innovator. So everyone here, just encourage you to be an innovator and to, like I said, find the boundary and then not be afraid to step beyond it. I always say this: if I had to go back and live my life again 100 times, I'd probably make the same choices, maybe 99 or 100 of those times, except for one, which is that I didn't listen to my body sooner, which led to me having surgery at 12. That's the one thing.
Wow,
But
surgery.
aside from that, um, aside from that, my adversity, the struggles I've gone through, the adversity I faced, and how I respond to those situations is what defines me, and shapes my character today. Um, so my gold medals and my successes, I don't want to let those define my character. If your entire personality is just I win, then you lose at life. Um, so like I said, my mental approach, my grit, my drive, that's what shapes me as a person. Uh, and I really hope all the kids here can embrace and embody the same thing. At the top level in the sport, everyone is physically capable of doing the same thing, basically. So on competition day, it just comes down to who's the better competitor. There's another American figure skater, Nathan Chen, who's widely regarded as one of the greatest of all time. And a lot of people were saying, the only thing holding Vincent Zhou back was that he had to compete with Nathan Chen at the same time. Nathan Chen didn't lose a single competition for like 4 or 5 years. And going into the 2022 Olympic season, he was the one to beat. And my coach started telling me, if you don't have the smallest chance of beating him, you've got to start thinking of yourself as actually having the chance to. You're not going into this competition to get number two. You're going into this competition to get number one. So that was the first step in sort of freeing up my mind to think in that way. Because I mean, I don't want to put words in my competitors' mouths, but let's be honest, we were all thinking the same thing. Whenever you go in to compete with Nathan Chen, you're competing for the number two and number three spots. You're not competing for the number one spot. But I started competing for the number one spot. And so, during that season at a Skate America competition, I did it. And that was because I was the better competitor that day. He may have, better technique than me. He may be a better skater than me. There's probably 1,000 things that he's better than me at. On that day, I had the stronger mind, and that made the difference. Figure skating is a sport where your body expires early, kind of like gymnastics. It's kind of rare to see longevity in the sport. So my parents recognized that early on, and so they always pushed me hard academically. Um, just, telling me, skating isn't forever. You're not going to skate forever. What are you going to do after that? And so, I made a lot of sacrifices despite, moving away from home for skating and doing all these things for skating. At the same time, uh, I still put in a lot of effort to make sure that, I was meeting the college requirements, the application requirements, and that I was still getting a proper education in which, it saddens me to say, but a lot of skaters, and I don't know about every sport, but I'm sure this is true for some other sports, that a lot of young athletes end up sacrificing school to, push themselves harder and spend more time training for their sport. And so, I'm really lucky that my school program had flexible timing. My online school program had flexible timing that allowed me to sort of learn on my own terms, on my own time, and that they understood what I was trying to do with skating, and they were there to support that, which is invaluable. Something that, ICL gives its something ICL gives its students. I never I tell everyone, never take that for granted. Having the ecosystem that works with you instead of against you. So, like going to regular school, for example, would be something in your ecosystem that works against you, because just of the time commitment, the physical travel commitment. It's just really hard to overcome. But having sort of a flexible learning model is super important. And then the other thing was just time management. My day was very structured. I would wake up early, train until, the afternoon, or the evening, and then the rest of the day would just be schoolwork, schoolwork, schoolwork. And that's just like it's only time management, but just having your priorities straight, and being motivated by the outcome that you want. Because I say a lot of people have an outcome that they want, but they're not necessarily motivated when it's time to put it into practice. They'd rather sit there and twiddle their thumbs than take action. And I'd be lying if I said I didn't fall victim to that too sometimes. But at the end of the day, I knew that my dream was to make the Olympic team. I also knew that skating wasn't going to last forever. My parents really helped drive that message deep through, both the language that they imparted to me and the action and process that they instilled around me. So, I'm really lucky to have parents that supported that and recognized the importance of academics. But at the end of the day, someone can tell you to do something, but you have to want to do it. And so for me, it was like I just recognized that, yeah, that's objectively the right thing to do, so I did it.